Today's video is about cacti and other succulents and the relationship between them. Very often we hear the expression cacti and succulents. That seems to imply that we are talking about two totally distinct groups. By definition, succulents are plants that have the capacity to store water and became fleshy by the development of water-storing tissues. Cacti also have this ability, and this is why a cactus is a succulent. We can always say that all cacti are succulents, but not all succulents are cacti. There are over 60 different plant families that include some succulents among their species. Many of them are very popular succulents, and usually we are more acquainted with the genus names. I'll just give you a few examples, bear with me, of plant genus and their families, the families they belong to, just to give you an idea. For instance, agave belong to the Agavaceae plant family. Aloe, Gasteria and Aortias belong to the Aloeaceae plant family. And Aeonium, Crassula, Echeveria, Graptopetalum, Calanchoe are included in the Crassulaceae plant family, and many more. The plant family to which cacti belong is Cactaceae, and there are many characteristics that identify a plant as belonging to this family. However, spines are not one of them. The distinguishing feature between the two is the existence of areoles on cacti. Areoles are small, round cushion-like structures from which spines, branches, and leaves and even flowers grow. Can you see them here? These indentations on the discus stem? Not all areoles generate spines. For instance, on this particular cactus, there are no spines. But we can understand that these areoles are the spot from where flowers are sprouting. For instance, on this other cactus, the areoles are quite more obvious. Areoles are highly specialized branches on cacti. Apparently, they were bud branches that aborted throughout evolution, while their spines evolved as vestigial leaves. In fact, they are adaptations to the drought and severe water shortage in the habitats where cacti are native to. The spines on this species are long and needle-shaped, but there are other types, small and more numerous, all according to the different plant's needs. Spines provide protection from herbivores and camouflage in some species, and also assist in water conservation in several ways. They trap air near the surface of the cactus, creating a moisture layer that reduces evaporation and respiration. They can also provide some shade, which lowers the temperature of the surface of the cactus, also reducing water loss. And then, when humid air is available from fog or early morning dew, spines can condense moisture, and that then drips onto the ground and makes it possible to be absorbed by the roots. Some succulents are often mistaken for cacti because they have spines, but these characteristics do not automatically qualify a succulent as a cactus. Let's take this aloe for example. Aloe are usually called cactus, but although the margin of the leaves are serrated and have small teeth, There are no aerials. Oh, can you see that? These are in bud. Good. This plant will be flowering soon and it will be a show. Anyway, let's proceed. And this one, this beautiful agave americana, the spikes on the edges do not have aerials. Therefore, this plant is not included in the CACTOS family either. Can you see here? The spines on this succulent, non-cacti succulent, are single ones. I mean, they come one at a time, unlike the aerial ones which gather in clusters. This large-sized euphorbia is a perfect example too. Lots of spiked edges but no aerials. Although all cacti have aerials, not all of them have sharp spines. Take the epiphytic cacti for instance. That happens because not all cacti live in arid desert conditions. Some cactus species are adapted to dark rainforests, or semi-shady shrublands, or cool, wet, cloudy highlands. Others are litophytes, grabbing hold of rocky ledges. Species in such cool or semi-shady habitats often have either just a few spines, or those have been converted to hair-like bristles, or even woolly and soft-feeling hair. Among the epiphytic cactus, Rhipsalis is the largest and the most widely distributed genus. And it's a very important one in what concerns the evolution of cacti plants, as we will see later. However, the most widely known, especially this time of the year, are the commonly known Thanksgiving and Christmas cactus. These are my Thanksgiving cactus. They are species endemic to Brazil and one of the parents of the so-called true Christmas cactus, which is a hybrid. They are no big deal because there are plants like this every color blooming everywhere. I just wanted to show you how these blooms come from the edge of the stems. That is where the areoles are situated on these plants. Apart from this one in bloom, I have three more. The upper one is still in bud. Then I have a smaller one which has already finished blooming. And here I have a special one. It's a hybrid with variegated leaves and which I bought recently. It has very beautiful leaves if you like variegated ones. It had already bloomed when I bought her, and we can see that the little leaves are already sprouting from the areoles on top of the stems. The little leaves start by being reddish and then they turn green as they get larger. Here you can see them quite well, the small leaves. It's a known fact that most cacti do not have leaves, but they had leaves once, millions of years ago when the earth was still too wet. As changing climate conditions turned native habitats into deserts, most cacti gradually lost their leaves because they evaporated too much scarce water into the dry air. Instead, they began to store available water in their stems, but that we know already. However, this plant I have here is an exception. In spite of its appearance, this plant is a cactus. Can you believe that? This plant is Parece aculeata, and this was a gift from my friends at Treasure of Plants channel, George and Francisco. and these holes on the leaves were dinner for a couple of minute caterpillar, which were so difficult to spot. Anyway, the fact is that the succulents from the Pereskia genus are cacti, as they have areoles. These plants have persistent leaves and, when older, bark-covered stems. They look like normal trees. However, they have areoles which identify them as cacti, and in spite of their appearance, they too have many adaptations for water conservation. And listen to this. Pereskia is considered close to the ancestral species from which all cacti evolved, which means millions of years ago, all cacti were similar to this one. Isn't this awesome? Other succulents evolve differently according to their habitats. Most succulents, like for instance echeverias, crusulas, aortias, loas, etc., evolved under less severe conditions than cacti in areas where rainy seasons were followed by long dry spells. Most have leaves. To customize themselves over the dry periods, their leaves gradually became fat by water-storing tissues, and their leaves became covered with a waxy material that reduces evaporation from the surface. There is another fact that distinguishes cacti from other succulents. That is, all cacti species are restricted to the American continent, while other succulents are indigenous to all parts of the world, not only to the Americas, but also Southern Europe and essentially South Africa, with a remarkable percentage of 40% natives. Native members of the cacti family, Cactaceae, range from Canada through Central America and the West Indies, and south to the cold areas of Chile and Patagonia, in the southern end of South America. Mexico might have the richest collection, but many are also found in the western deserts of the United States and in the high mountains of Peru, Bolivia, and Argentina. The funny thing is that apparently there is only one exception. Only one species of epiphytic cacti of the rainforests, in the genus Rhipsalis, was spread from the Americas to Africa, namely the species Rhipsalis buxifera. Rhipsalis buxifera, as well as being present in the rainforests of much of South and Central America, occurs throughout a large part of Central Africa, like Madagascar, the Comoros, Seychelles, and Sri Lanka as well. The reason why one single species of cacti should occur halfway across the world from its origin is yet to be explained and understood. Transportation by birds is a somewhat plausible explanation, though there is no evidence that this is the correct one. Could it be possible? What kind of bird could fly across two continents and the full length of the Atlantic Ocean with seeds still in their stomachs? However, it could be explained if that happened when South America and Africa were still linked together. The Rhipsalis genus might have appeared about 150 million years ago, and then would have spread across until reaching Madagascar and India approximately 20 million years later, whereas Australia, New Zealand, and the Antarctic had already moved away. This explains the current Rhipsalis locations. Well, this video is coming to the end. A lot about these fascinating plants remain to be said. Hope you liked it. I certainly like to do it anyway, because for me plants are much more than just the flowers. I love to know all about their origins, their behavior and strategies, the way they use their intelligence, which they have, different one from ours, but they are very intelligent. Did you know that plants communicate and interact with each other? But that is another story. Thank you for bearing with me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.